Today, I'd love to speak with you a little bit about marketing. Now, we joke in our world that marketing is foreplay and sales is the deed, and one doesn't work without the other. And there's a lot I've learned about marketing since I've done an internet-based business versus the old days when we did brick and mortar businesses. So today, I'd love to talk with you a little bit about where you need to be focused, what could work for you in the year ahead, and I have a free gift for you that goes along with this training that will help you really implement this and get on track. All right, so depending on what industry you're in, you might have different marketing techniques. Some of the things that we find as we serve a lot of service-based professionals is that it's not just one piece, it's multiple pieces of marketing materials that need to go out on a consistent basis. And so kind of the acronym for marketing is ABM, always be marketing. Marketing is not something you can do someday when you get there and you decide, oh, wait a second, I need to make some money. That's not the time. It's kind of this slow drip. It's a little bit of like Chinese water torture at some times, right? But this is like slow drip. But what we find is that year after year, we have folks that stay on our email list, that follow us on social media, and then when they're ready, it can be like popcorn. The light goes on and it's time for us to work together. So it's one of those things of like nurturing and really cultivating the relationships. And we have an incredible opportunity to do that today that we didn't have in the past with social media. So I want to tell you what's working, what's not working, and then you can choose how you want to move forward. Right. For most service-based professionals, the most effective way to build your business is through speaking. And we have a whole training for you on how to get booked as a speaker, how to build your speaking business, but that's kind of outside of today's training. So if you're interested in that, we'll get to that next. What I do want to say is this: when you're trying to build your business on a one-on-one conversation, it can take a long time. When you actually start speaking and you start marketing on a consistent basis, you actually reach many people in a very short time, and it can shorten the distance from prospect to sale, which generates revenue for your company. All right. So through speaking, there's lots of ways for you to do that today. You can actually speak at meetup groups. You can speak to professional organizations. You can speak at conferences. You may choose to sponsor conferences. But remember, every time that you get on a stage, whether it be live and in person or virtually through a telesummit or through a webinar or a video series, you actually have the possibility of reaching many more people than just going out and doing the networking one-to-one. I want you to network consistently. We have a client who's built a large, I'd say, high multiple six-figure business strictly by networking 4 days a week. For me, I think that can be a little tough because I live rurally, but if you live someplace where you're in the city and you want to get out and do it, by all means, knock yourself out. When you're networking, you're one-to-one. Generally, or you're in a small room. If you're on a stage, you can be speaking one-to-many, and it will really shorten the curve. The other place that I want you to focus on is looking at what is your online presence. Now, the challenge with this one is that it's too easy to get on social media and get really distracted by what everybody else is doing. The free gift that I told you about today is that I've given you a year at a glance calendar. It's something you can print out. You can have it printed at Staples or Office Max for about $1. But it's an 11 by 17 calendar that you can put on your desk and write out your revenue generating activities for the year. So if you're having sales conversations, that's a revenue generating activity. If you're having a speaking engagement, you can either be hosting your own workshop or you can be on somebody else's stage and now you're speaking one-to-many. That's a revenue generating activity. I'll teach you how to convert that to a sale as we look at the sales with ease process. But for just this purpose of this conversation, I want you to write that on your year at a glance calendar. If you'd like to host webinars, that's a great way, again, to have something that lives forever. Today, it's very popular for everybody and their brother to have a podcast. Now, you may choose to have your own podcast, or you may already do so, and you don't have to. If that's something that feels a little bit out of your repertoire or something that feels like a little too much work for you, I encourage you to be a guest on other people's podcasts. So any podcast that you listen to probably has a website. And if you go to the website, they'll have a place for you to apply to be a guest. I want you to look for podcasts that are really focused on your topic and your area of interest. What are the podcasts that your prospects and your clients and your customers are listening to? If you can figure out what they're interested in and you can position yourself as an expert on those shows, voila, somebody else did all the work. All you have to do is show up and share your goodies, right? So that's a place that I feel like is just exploding right now in all industries and a great opportunity for you. In the world of social media, I want you to be very careful with this, as I said, because it's easy to get on and get distracted. But if you are going to use social media as part of your platform for marketing, I want you to really be focused on what themes are you offering, have it be congruent. One of the things that I love that our team does, I'm so grateful for them, is that they create content for us for an entire year at a time. So if you're on our email list, every Friday we send out a free gift to our community. We have thousands of people all over the world on our list, and we send them an email every week with a free gift Friday. Now what happens for us with social media is that's an easy bridge. We don't have to create a whole new set of content. We're doing it weekly. If you're just getting started, you might be doing it monthly. You might decide, this is my theme for the month. This is the content I want to put out once or twice or 3 or 4 times in the month. And so if it goes out in an email, you can really replicate that same message into your social media platform. My encouragement for you in social media is figure out which platform makes sense for you. If you're a business to business type organization, you want to be on LinkedIn. You don't want to be hanging out on Instagram necessarily building likes and followers if they're not going to actually convert to clients. If you're somebody who has more of what we would call kind of a soft service-based business, if you're a coach, you're an author, you're more of a celebrity brand, then I want you to hang out on Facebook. And those two things are so easy to connect. Now we have clients in Legacy Leaders who are having great results with Twitter. I'm not much of a tweeter. Our Twitter account is attached to Facebook. So if we Facebook, it goes on Twitter. But what I find with Twitter is the people that are highly effective on that platform are businesses that have a person who is constantly interacting. Twitter is like a conversation. So think about if you were having a conversation and you put something out and then nobody was listening, by the time they come back to you, you're not there. It's kind of like a weird telephone game. So don't hang out on Twitter and try to make that your business building platform if you're not going to really commit to being there and being in the conversations. Make sense? Good. All right. So I just want to give you one last thing that I think is happening today in marketing, but it's not being talked about very much because everybody's very excited about digital. And I think it's a bit of a sleeper. And that's good old-fashioned direct mail. We believe that there's some value in sending something through the mail. It's not very expensive, and it's something that people don't get much of anymore. So if you're not just, a flyer or a throwaway coupon, but you actually send a letter or we use a service called Send Out Cards. There's something nice for people about going to their mailbox and having something and opening it. There's something about the tactile experience, right? About opening something, sending something. If you can send people something that they might leave on their desk, like a paperweight, well, that wouldn't be in an envelope, that'd be in a box, but something that they could leave on their desk or like a bookmark, you'll be front of mind, right? On my business cards, and I don't have one here, but we'll show one in the video, but on my business cards, I have my picture. I have so many people talk to me when they see me at a networking event. They might have met me 2 or 3 years later, but they said, I leave your card on my desk because it's such a sweet picture and it always makes me think of you. That's nice. I spend a lot of money for like really good, heavy duty, they're like cards, business cards. So think about what you can do in good old fashioned paper that matches your brand, that leaves a little bit of an impression, that has you being connected with people. When we have our live events, for years, I'm not sure I'll always be able to do this because we're scaling pretty quickly right now, but for years I've actually written handwritten notes to all of our participants. So when we have a small retreat like Flow and we have 25 women come, it's my pleasure to write thank you notes and welcome and just have them be there. When we get to the bigger conferences and we have 100 people, it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, there's something so special that has me feel honored about them taking the time to be with us that's worth my time to write them a little love note. So I want you to be thinking about, again, what can you do that will have you be different in the marketplace when you're doing your marketing? Don't just follow everybody else's track. Sit down and look at your year at a glance and say, this is what I want to accomplish. These are the initiatives. These are the revenue goals that I have. What are the actions that are going to really tie into the goals that I have financially? If I know I want to have 10 new clients this year, where are they hanging out? So I can make sure I focus my marketing activities on where they are interested in being, not where I'm interested in being. All right, so again, it's all about them, not about you. And the more you keep that focus in your marketing, the more effective it will be.